themselves. Yep.
I was at Denny's.
You had to corkscrew it. You had to pour it properly, tilt the glass, fill it.
And also those who knew would be looking at you too.
Absolutely, and they was gonna call you out, and you was not gonna get tipped well if you didn't do it properly.
Well, I spilled milk on my customers at Denny's, and they all gave me a $20 tip. So.
Oh, because you probably was like, oh no.
Yeah, I was 18, so I was like, oh my god. And I was shocked at them older right gentlemen. Oh, we like, hey y'all, I love you too.
They love us.
Yeah, I like it.
Thank y'all.
I don't know what I'm looking for. Oh, look, I'm so
Please. Anything you like.
Anything you like.
Y'all.
Oh, I love y'all so much. Stormy.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you Stormy you want me to?
No, do Empress Stormy.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I was
Instagram.
looking for.
Yeah.
It's on Facebook.
Oh, then it's a Stormy too.
It's just Stormy.
Yes, it's
but
my
it didn't
name.
Come up.
My whole government on it.
What's your last name?
Williams.
Oh.
It should be, man. You just tagged me in your dessert thing.
OMG. I am so over technology today. It's gonna make me type the whole thing in, and then it just came up.
And then I don't know, cause somebody sent me this artist was trying to send me his music, and he definitely was messaging somebody else with my face, but it was not me. And then he said, "I know it wasn't me because he sent it to me." But then when I tried to go look for it, I couldn't find it.
That happened to me before too. I saw it with my own eyes, and then you can't actually find it.
So I don't know. And somebody made a page of me before. I don't know what was on it, but they made
Oh,
it.
it's pink.
It's real thing.
Mother's Day all day.
So don't let me have a problem.
Nah, I don't wanna have no interruptions over here.
Just go ahead and go straight through.
But you all are welcome to
I don't think it's in this.
I don't even know what this means.
grab it and refill when you want because. Alright. We're gonna go live. We're gonna be live on YouTube, on everything. Live on everything. I don't even know. The countdown definitely makes me nervous. I don't even know. It's like, and we is live.
Like 83 and a half years old.
No, they told me last Thursday that I had to be 95 because my cooking was
Oh,
like an old lady.
Oh,
Like,
grandma.
I've been cooking since the tender age of 9. So,
Great
it's
auntie
so
cook.
funny, yes.
You just don't have the arms.
That's true.
I'm working on them though.
You so
They trying to come on in.
You get on my nerves.
Come on in. You guys come on in and welcome. I wish, so we got it on a boot cam, but I wish we could get y'all on this cam. But yes, but welcome. It is Talk to Me Tuesday. Hey Amber, what's up, girl? Disperse. Shout out to Disperse.
I love this first.
Yeah, shout out to Disperse. First and foremost, because thank you for tuning in. Because if you are not familiar with this young lady, please check her out.
Yes.
Disperse. Comment where you want them to follow you, please. Please check out this artist. She is one of Richmond VA's finest, amazing, phenomenal artists. I've had the pleasure of seeing her perform numerous times in my venue. So yes, I'm gonna get her to drop her stuff, her information down there. Please follow her. She is part of the dopeness that is RVA. Cheers. Yeah, we popping bottles today, y'all, because it's been a week. But thank you all for joining us. Shout out to all of the loyal royals who are in the building and joining us. Yes, thank you all so much. For those of you who are loyal and who are used to being here at 7 o'clock, I do apologize, but sometimes technology, that's what the fuck you want to do. And tonight was one of those nights, and so we are over this technical difficulties. As I get my mouth, girl, and technical difficulties, and we are here. And of course, I am here with the crew, part of the crew. The crew is y'all are a set crew now. Just so y'all know, y'all are a set crew now. Y'all are a set toxic girl and more Tuesday. But yeah, so you guys are absolutely part of the set crew now. However, we invite you all on the YouTube. I say it every time now.
It's okay. It is okay. The YouTube.
I love that though. That's
The YouTube.
She just celebrated her 75th birthday. Give it up!
She on this here internet.
On this access to your internet, yes, on the bookgram. On the bookgram. You on the
Google face snap.
on
The
the
book
TikTok.
face.
But it is
Y'all only had
to me
one sip.
Tuesday. I haven't had no sips. This is natural.
That's what I'm saying. Like this is just
natural.
like.
The sip gonna mellow me out though. But with this Talk to Me Tuesday, where y'all talk to me. We talk to each other. And we provide a platform of healing and information and learning and growth and just genuine good vibes. So I am here with my girl, my co-host, Coach K.
Woo!
We are also
Got a
here
bunch of ghosts.
with a fashion guru amongst many other things. Brian Durgan. Brian with two eyes. Don't get it twisted. And we are also here with Miss Stormy the
Hey, y'all, hold on,
model.
Look at this thing.
Yes, pose.
I
So
love
thank
it.
you all so much for tuning in. And tonight we are discussing. Well, last week. Let me get into last week. Last week we did. Thank you. Last show. Yes, last show, because we are bi-weekly now. We are a bi-weekly platform because we need time to rest and plan. But last episode we did mental health and intimacy, and so we figured that we would piggyback and or continue the conversation tonight and go into chronic illness and intimacy. Because it is a lot of things that people, it is a thing that a lot of us deal with. A lot of people deal with. I am personally affected by a chronic illness. It has affected my intimacy at times. And so we figured that that would be a great topic to discuss tonight. I have also had a few people ask me about the network. So the network is in building. The empire is definitely building.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We started out, she always had to put it on me. This is a team thing. I always do everything for the team. I'm gonna do better about doing for me. But it takes a village, y'all, and I'm a team player.
To raise a child, you ain't nobody's chick, no child. Now go
No,
on.
this is the baby. The
Oh,
network
okay.
is the baby. Y'all, she gonna get me all the way together. Every chance she gets, and I love her for that. But the network is building, and I have had people ask me about Moments in Love, which was my nighttime radio show that I do. And I do slow jams, erotica, poetry, and love songs, and all the good R&B, 90s, early 2000s, and from 2000s as well, but that we don't get often times on the radio. And so that will be coming back. The network is in growth and it is building. So I thank all of you all for tuning in. I thank all of you all for continuing to support. Yes, because without you all, there is no us. And so thank you all for that. No, you can stop. I'm not working with that. And so thank you all for growing with us and for building with us, and for joining us in this safe space. If you ever have something that you want to discuss here on the show, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Coach K or any of the panel guests. She said reach out to me. Reach out to me. Reach out to the network.
You can reach out to me, but this is what I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna ask Angel. What I told you. I'm gonna ask Angel.
Somebody call me
I'm
by
gonna
name.
get back to you.
And she did. She hit me ASAP. Brian is asking, and I said I was just about to hit her up. So she is, but whoever you reach out
We're
to,
gonna make sure it get done.
it's gonna get to the proper channels. But yes, we enjoy providing this platform, providing this space, and there are pertinent things within our community that we need to touch on, talk about, and so we provide a space for that here. And I thank you all so much for joining us and me and my baby, and for going with the network. And so tonight we are going to get into chronic illness, which because of the way the world is, life stressors, COVID, pandemics, raising a family, having relationships and interpersonal situationships in 2024.
Let me ask you a lie. Go ahead.
Wow. In 2024, girl, they done missed all the good content. We wanted to.
I was like, why it look so different?
Because it's not live, baby. It's not on. They're not with us. But thank you all. Y'all with us now, so thank you for being here. We wanted to delve tonight into chronic illness and what that looks like As you are managing through life, Coach K is a love and intimacy coach. She is also a life coach, and so most times, our topics intertwine and overlap because in real life these things intertwine and overlap. We also have Brian Dargan with us, and I'm gonna let you say the name of your organization because I don't want to reverse it. I do that sometimes.
It's the Joan L. Dargan Foundation.
Thank you. And can you tell us what your foundation does?
Sure. We are an advocacy group working with the underserved, substance abuse, and mentally challenged communities to foster early cancer detection screenings and conversation between providers and patients. Better conversation between providers and patients.
Thank you so much. And that is important.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna get some claps.
Joan L. Dargan.
So that we can actually do that. Brian, you can put your phone up if you can as well. And so we wanted to provide this platform to Brian tonight in conjunction with the episode to talk more about his foundation, what his foundation represents, what it stands for, why it's important in the community, why the discussion about chronic illness is important. There are a lot of outside radicals that come into our systems, be it other people's energy, pollution in the air, pollution in the food that we eat, pollution in the soil where our food is grown. And so all of those things, when you internalize them, affect you whether you realize it or not. They affect us whether we realize it or not. Sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. But in wanting to promote awareness and wanting to promote proactiveness instead of reactiveness, I'm making up words, y'all. In the interest of being proactive and not reactive, we wanted to delve into some of these discussions tonight and take a look at what chronic illness looks like because it might not always look like a person is sick.
Right.
I am chronically ill, but if you see me, I be lit. I'm a whole vibe, and I know that. Mask on, yes. And so, chronic illness presents and looks differently, and it shows up in different ways in different people. So when you're around and interacting with the people you know, the people that you love, be cognizant. But being cognizant also comes with awareness and education. And so we are here to provide that and get into that this evening. As far as I'm gonna start with me because this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. And a lot of people don't know, because I am always moving and shaking, that I actually have, that was the ice maker?
Yes.
I gotta make sure.
Let her open that door.
Listen, because the Thule is, we need it. I have lupus and I have fibromyalgia. And so those are two autoimmune conditions where your autoimmune system basically doesn't know the good shit from the bad shit, so it fights off everything, whether it's good or bad. Fighting off the bad things absolutely is what you want your body to do, but you don't want your body to fight off the good things because that causes things like inflammation and pain and a whole lot of other things, depression, and it's not just the physical illness, you deal with the mental illness as well, going back to last episode, and it's all intertwined. And so we wanted to utilize this platform tonight in order to make you guys aware of what those things look like, highlight Brian's organization, which I think is a very phenomenal organization, and allow him the opportunity to tell you guys about what he does so that we can spread the word. Coach K, when you are dealing with someone with chronic illness and you are speaking about a level of intimacy, whether it's a friendship intimacy or a relationship intimacy, a romantic intimacy, I will say, what do you find when you are dealing with your clients is the most common misconception about chronic illness in a relationship or in dealing with somebody when they're on that level that they might not necessarily have a cure or they might not necessarily be getting better and they have a partner who may end up potentially becoming a caregiver because I can tell you from being a nurse, from being a mother, from being a daughter of a mother who also has chronic illness, being a caregiver is draining on the person who is providing the care. And it's not to say that we don't want to provide the care, but it's just energy that is expended. And a lot of times it's not able to be poured back from that particular person because that person is the one that's being cared for. So what do you come across and what do you find is the most common misconception to start when you are dealing with chronic illness and your clients and intimacy and relationships.
Well, thank you. And thank you for sharing, one, your foundation, and number two, about what you have. So, I'm going to try to all just look right here real quick. The most common and I got this right in front of y'all. Sorry, y'all, but I don't want to music. The most common misperception and misconception is what you guys are looking at. And if y'all don't know, this is what we're looking at right here, right? We're looking at this person here, and then we're looking at this person here, right? Is that chronic illness looks a certain way. And a huge thing in a relationship and in a friendship and in a family is if I don't see you hurt, then you should be doing all of the things that a normal human being should be doing. And for the person that has the chronic illness, we don't want to keep reminding people that we have something. When you jump down, that we have something going on. It's okay. It's difficult because you're the one that's ill. So for me, I have cardiomyopathy. I was born with it, I guess. I had a heart attack at 4, so I've been fighting for my life for a long time. I've just had my second ablation done. And while I was going through the episodes, the people that were affected were my family, because how I found it is I'm doing normal stuff because I was happily weaned off. I think I was weaned off of all medications at this point because I was like, I don't want to keep taking medications. A lot of times the medications that you're given to treat the illness gives you new side effects that you now have to combat. And so I had weaned myself completely off. I'm doing normal things around the house, standing up at the stove cooking, and I just tanked. And so I'm like, and my husband's like, what do you need? What do you need? I can't verbalize it at the moment. I can hear what's going on around me, but I had no energy. I couldn't say anything. And so eventually I came back around and I just went back to what I was doing. For someone on the outside looking in, oh, you're good. There's nothing wrong with you. You're back cooking. Well, I have to keep doing it and going for my family. Well, apparently there was so my heart's been jacked up, but there was where your blood is supposed to go around or recycle. Mine was just doing this. So every once in a while, a nanosecond, if I cough, sneeze, move the wrong way, it catches and my blood pressure tanks and my heart rate shoots up. And so, because it's trying to say, hey, we don't know what to do. And so this is something that I tell my children, hey, I need y'all to learn CPR because the only way that I know if I need a defibrillator, because what I have is so new that the medical books hadn't written a full description on it yet, is if I drop down. And so with chronic illness, it's important to be transparent, but as the people who have the chronic illness, we don't want to keep saying it. And so we don't keep saying it, and thus, because we don't look it, it's not know. Right. And that's a huge misconception, is that it's supposed to look, that's just like with handicapped people. You get a hand, they get out the car, they walk just fine. Well, you don't know what is going on inside of their body, what they just had to fight to even get up to get to that store. And so to not have to walk from over there to the store because they can only walk 20 yards without getting winded from a host of ailments. One of the most common is cancer. It winds you, it takes you in different places. Not just the illness itself, but as you mentioned earlier, it weighs on your mental. It all goes hand in hand. So now I have this chronic illness and now I'm angry because number one, I have this thing. Number two, somebody that's outside is expecting me to do a thing that I know I can do, but it would be more harmful for me to do it. So I don't do it, and now I'm being looked at. Right. And you're frustrated.
And then with those emotions from the other people that want you to
to
their
just
expectation.
exactly. And it's because but it's real, and that's what I ain't gonna put all your business out. But when you tell me, okay, so when we're talking and this workhorse says I can't X, Y, and Z, or I didn't X, Y, and Z. So my question is, well, what did you do? Because what I told her is some Mondays, the thought of all the things that need to get done shuts you down just that quick. Because your body cannot effectively produce the energy to do it. And so all you're doing now is thinking about it. That brain power drains you. It puts you into a state of depression, and now you feel like I'm doing nothing. And so I've got to set to myself that there are going to be some days where I just sit myself on the sofa. I turn on Top Chef because I'm actively binge watching all of the episodes of that. And I'll have my computer set up on my phone. And it might just be me posting stories. I might just be sharing stories. That might be all the energy that my mind can give me right now. Because when I start to stress, I can feel the pain around my chest. I know when it's getting to a level where I could shut down. Right. If not for wearing a Holter monitor, I would not have known. I had a heart rate of 200. That's not healthy. Oh, it is. But I didn't feel anything. I was just driving home. So if not for wearing a 30-day loop monitor, who would record that? So there are things going on in our bodies. We feel it. We know something's there. And let's be real. If you look at this shade of panel right here, right? We can go into a doctor's office. Yes. We can walk into a doctor's office today, give them these signs and symptoms, and they will give you pills.
That happened to me. I still don't know what's wrong with me yet.
Because the unfortunately, the money is not in the cure. The money is in the medicine.
It absolutely is.
The funding is not in the cures. The funding is in the work that goes into finding the cure.
Which is why organizations such as what you have becomes important.
Yes.
Because you all become the voice for the 81-year-old woman who knows her body. She's telling the doctor over and over. The 20-year-old that, because she's only 20-something, she's not educated, but she's been in her body for 20 years, and she just met you 10 minutes ago. If she's saying, I'm feeling this thing. Endometriosis is a chronic illness that is super misdiagnosed, underdiagnosed in Black women because we just, it's okay. That's not what could be. We're dramatic. You're just complaining.
No, my favorite is that we don't feel pain like
other counterparts do.
Absolutely.
When in reality, if we're coming into the office, it's because we've hit a tolerance of pain that is higher than what many, I won't say any, many other races would not be able to handle. Mm-hmm. It is in our DNA that we can take pain and keep moving. And that is so unfair. And because we do just push through and fight through, when we have chronic illness and our counterparts are looking at us, they're then angry with us. That causes us to be angry. And for you, it's a flare-up. For me, it's stress that shows up around my heart.
So stress triggers my flare-ups. And I am aware of my triggers, but because I'm always going, there are many times daily. There are many times where I'm stressing about something, and I might not necessarily realize that particular thing is causing me stress in the moment, but then later I'm like, why am I so angry? Or why is my mood so shitty? And a lot of times I'm already well into my flare before I realize that I'm having a flare, because I'm in pain all the time. So for me, I'm in pain all the time. Sitting here right now, I'm at a level of pain. My pain level right now maybe about a 5 or 6, because I'm sitting here. I haven't really been doing much strenuous physical work today. I've been working at my desk.
And let's be real, when she says 5 or 6, because that's somebody who's lived with this for many years, the reality of what it actually is, it's probably double that. So let's be real. This is what chronic illness looks like.
You're gonna make me cry.
But it's real, and you have to be able to walk in that. Let somebody talk about this for a while so that people understand that just a smile doesn't mean shit.
Right.
A smile just means I was taught to be polite. And I was grown, I grew up with manners.
I have manners.
Because if people with chronic illness would actually act how they feel inside, people's feelings would be hurt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You think about that patient, that cancer patient, just got a diagnosis that the job is like, oh, so what time are you coming in to work? I know you got a chemo appointment, but what time are you coming to work? Sick, hurt. When it's time for this woman to pay her bills and she has a cake to make or food to make or an event to be to, that flare up is like, hey, what you going to do?
Right.
And she be like, not today. And the flare be like, but I wanna hang out.
I wanna play, bitch, let's do it.
What you doing?
What you got?
And that right there, when you have someone that is supportive, that's super helpful. I know that if not for my husband most times understanding, because I don't always tell him. Because again, when you have it, we hear it all the time because it's inside of us.
Then it feels like we're complaining.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there are many times that you're walking around hurt, like, well, I'm not gonna say nothing because number one, the doctor pushed pills on me and said that there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
So if I say something, they want to know, well, what did the doctor say? Well, the doctor didn't say shit.
They said take these pills.
They said take these pills. And so you if you have a loved one that is on the other side of you, you can try to explain this to them all you want to, but we're explaining it from probably in that moment a place of frustration,
Place of pain.
a place of pain, and a place of disappointment that they don't just know what to do.
And it's a feeling of loneliness too.
Yes, it really is a feeling of isolation and
Because I'm
loneliness.
not diagnosed with anything specific. I don't know if I have, because I got tested for lupus and MS and nothing's wrong. But when you're having like where I can't go to work because the pain levels are so severe in my legs and my back and I'm having a burning sensation, but you're telling me I'm fine.
And
Because
so,
I'm 20 something.
Right.
Like now I'm 30, but that was back, but I just gave up now.
I'm sorry, I've been taking.
It's okay. I like that thing.
You're
But
awesome.
because like now I just gave up. Because what's the point? Because now I had got physically hit by a car and all that now. So now they're gonna tell me that
it's
That's
from
right,
that.
it's from the accident.
And
Don't do
5
that,
years
though.
later,
Yeah.
you got stage 4 this, so you
Yeah.
got you've had lupus for
Yeah.
this many years, and I wish we this
And because
deteriorated.
it's gone
Right.
untreated,
Right,
Exactly.
it's gotten worse.
now it's worse.
Yeah.
Don't give up on your testing though. I was at that point,
Yeah.
and kind of like Kanye, I fell on the floor one day, and my children had to pick me up and call the ambulance for me. And
Jeez.
yeah, and so I had to call. It's a long story. I had to call the guy I was dating. I had to call my partner, and he had to come and scoop me up off the floor. But by the time he got there, the authorities, the ambulance was there. But I had done the Holter monitor. They didn't do it for 30 days. I had like 48 hours and put me on the
Which
Holter
does nothing.
that I know now. I know that now. They did the Holter monitor because I had times where my heart would it would race, but it wasn't like regular. And I really think it was just my lymphatics. At the time, I didn't know that my lymphatic system was clogged. Well, it wasn't processing because of the inflammation on the inside of my body. And what happened was I actually had a blood clot in my leg.
Gee, those things ain't no joke.
And I went to the emergency room on a weekday. They sent me home with pills. They gave me medicine in the emergency room. Told me to take a nap. Here, take this, go to sleep. It's gonna put you to sleep, go to sleep. When you wake up,
Which
you'll
is
be fine.
dangerous for a blood clot.
Absolutely.
You
And
don't know what's happening.
they didn't know I had a blood clot at this
Right.
moment.
So they're just telling you to go to sleep.
They gave me pain medicine and
Yep.
told me to go to
They
sleep.
go
And see, they give me some narcotics, so and they act like we have a problem.
Absolutely. And so I woke up and the doctor asked me, how do you feel now? And I said, I got a great nap, but I still feel the same.
Right.
My pain is still at the same level. Like the nap did not take the pain away. I went for 4 more days with that blood clot in my body. I went to work. This is when when I was still nursing. I went to work. I was lifting my patients. I was driving my patients.
Even just the stress of being
Thankfully, it did not move. I was at the rehab center on Penn Road. I'll never forget it. And I got out. I got off work. I had worked a double. I had worked 14 hours a day. I got off work. I went to go walk up the hall to get to the car, and I could barely walk up the hall. My leg just felt so heavy. And so that's what prompted me to go to the ER. They sent me home for 4 more days. I went to work, moved.
Again?
This is at that time.
Oh.
Went to work for 4 more days until I was at home this was Monday. So I had gone through the whole weekend, through the week before, and Monday, and I was using the bathroom, and I went to go stand up. So I even washed, and my legs was like, nah, bitch, we going to the floor. And in the floor I was, and they had me in the hospital for 3 days, and ran every test that they thought to run.
If they ran it.
Nobody ever gave my ultrasound. They did not ultrasound.
The basics.
They gave me a spinal tap.
That's painful.
Which is painful.
They went to that extreme.
I was awake and was watching the doctor on the monitor while he was sticking the needle in my back. And then he didn't even put it in the right place, so he was gouging the needle in my back. When I tell you, this is why I don't go to the doctor no more. So I don't go. So I watched him, and then he says to me, I can't get it in the right place. Bear with me. And I'm like, sir, get out my back. Get out my back. Just leave. Get out my back. Just leave. So finally, like 4 o'clock in the morning, after they've run a multitude of tests, the nurse comes in and says, has anybody ultrasounded your leg?
I love nurses.
And I said, no.
Seriously.
No, they haven't. And so I had to wait, I think maybe a few more hours. Early the next morning, they ultrasounded my leg, and they were like, yeah, you have a blood clot in your leg.
When you find that one nurse that actually cares enough to listen to what's happening, that makes the difference in the world.
So my fibromyalgia diagnosis came because when I was in nursing school, and we had to do a presentation on the systems on the inside of the body. And it just so happened that my classmate did a presentation, and her presentation led her to fibromyalgia. And I was like, huh.
Sounds real familiar.
Let me go. And so I went to my hematologist, and I'm like, here, I want you to look at this presentation from nursing school. And he looks at it, he goes to my chart, he says to me, looks me dead in my face, and he says, well, yeah, I diagnosed you with lupus because your ANA came back positive, but I'm going to go ahead and throw a little bit of fibromyalgia on there too. I'm like, how do you throw a little bit of it? Like it's a side of steak. Like, just sprinkle this little.
I'm gonna give you some sweet potatoes because your meal won't right.
Annoyed. So I self-medicate.
Yes.
And that's when I got into my herbs and my changing my diet and those things like that because I just couldn't. So
that affects your partner as well. When you start making life changes for yourself, it affects not just your partner, it affects your children, it affects your family.
The whole household.
The family, because you think about it, growing up in a black household, you're supposed to eat everything. It don't matter if it moved and somebody shot it, if it came up in the garden,
if
you gonna eat it.
You gonna eat
it.
And how many of those moments have led to what we have now? Not the fault of Nana who cooked, but because they're adding chemicals so they can quickly produce things. They're adding preservatives so they can keep it on the shelf longer.
Hormones to make it bigger, to make it look more
right?
appealing.
Like the beets
why
and
would you
stuff,
do
that's
that?
not even naturally that.
Right. So now your family's looking at you sideways because, you think you better than us.
Oh my God, that's happened to me when I. Yeah.
That's my mother's Sunday.
Look, when
I got beef in the crock pot, but she don't eat beef. No, ma'am, I don't.
Yeah.
And then you got a partner who you've been cooking for, and now you have to, like for my husband, for his own health reasons and his just clean eating, he just wanted to no longer eat pork. Cool, we still cook it in the house. I don't eat it as much anymore. I still cook steak. He be like, oh, that's so good. Look, I'm gonna eat my bacon.
I'm gonna say I love bacon.
That oil be on my lips.
My daughter would go in the kitchen and fry that bacon, girl.
Make it spit and sick. My husband be like, he just had to get out the house. They don't care what's going on. But he made that change for himself. As his wife, okay, I can do that. I don't mind at all. He still eats seafood, fish. There are going to be some times where I cook a meatloaf. He might say, you know what, I'm going to come home and I'm going to cook an omelet. Or I can say, hey, do you want me to fry up a catfish? I have no problem with that because that is the compromise that support, right? It's not a big deal. It's not a drastic change. He doesn't even have to tell me he's doing it for a reason. I know that I need to, you know, him seeing the episodes that I've had, he stays on me. You need to get your eating together. You need to get your eating together. I was like, look, I eat. Y'all know from the last time we was here, I get my
That's all I'm saying. That little stomach.
That's all right here. Listen, her ponytail bigger than her stomach.
Right.
and I love to eat. But I know my limits. I drink. I actually don't drink nearly as much anymore. But I know that when I drink to a certain level, if I start to feel the pain or twingles up here in my chest or across my abdomen, it's my body saying, chill out. We don't all have that self-awareness.
Yeah.
Again, how that affects our partner is if my husband was a drinker and we were drinkers together and I have to scale back or stop, now I have a partner that's looking at me like, well, you've changed.
Right. Because that was part of y'all building the
Our building
relationship
up,
and the connection.
exactly.
Yeah.
And because he can't see inside of me to understand what's going on, it's just I've changed. So how that affects that counterpart, like you said, they do become your caregiver. There is a small slither of resentment that comes into play when you become the caregiver. With that resentment also comes shame for feeling resentful, guilt for feeling resentful. That turns up a lot of time as anger. And they don't want to be angry with you because they're like, you can't control it. But at the same time, it's, you can get up and do this. You know, because they don't see anything that's
physical. Like, you can do that. What's wrong?
Right.
You did it yesterday. You did it
right,
the other
so
week.
why can't you still do it? You can get off work, go to the grocery store, and have all this laundry done by the time I get home because you've always done it. Not thinking, okay, she just had a stroke, and that's not me. I'm just talking in general, y'all. Right, so I'm like, oh, she had a stroke. No, I'm just talking in general. Not remembering that 3 days ago, she had a stroke. But because after the stroke, she rested for one day, got up and started doing regular stuff. Yeah, back to normal. When she needed to take a break because her body is giving her the signals. I know my signal. I know my signals. And I just chill out. Now I have a partner coming home to a house that all the laundry's not done, and now they're pissed.
And that doesn't even mean that you were doing it properly before. That could have meant that you just fought through it.
Right.
And suffered through. That doesn't mean that you did it like, oh, I'm happy, oh, I'm doing all these things. No, it's like, I have no choice. So now I'm stressed out because if I don't do it, then I'm going crazy because it's not done. And then if I do it, I'm in all this pain and it's even more stress. But it's like, which one I'm going to choose? I'm already in pain anyway, so I might as well do it this day. Get it over with, and then we'll see what happens tomorrow.
And everything you just said is the daily mental argument, the daily mental stress that you go through, because it's like on the one hand, you know what you're capable, you know what you're technically capable of doing if you weren't fighting against your body. Right. So a lot of times I know what I'm capable, I know what I'm used to doing, I know what I could do yesterday, I know what I could do last week. I know what I could do last year, but for today, for whatever reason, I just can't do it. I haven't gotten to the place yet where I'm able to give myself that grace. I do still struggle with the guilt of what I don't get done.
If you do not take the warnings that your body gives you, and I will be 100%, your body will absolutely take what it needs.
Oh, it does.
No. It does. It's different than it will take.
No, it does.
You wouldn't be sitting here. Let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you this again. I'm being dead ass serious with you. I know you've had things happen. You've had episodes. It will take from you what you are not willing to give yourself. And that means no more sitting here fake smiling when it's hurt. No more fighting through that pain because somebody needs something from you. You won't be able to do that anymore.
It won't even matter.
There is somebody that's going to hear this and that's watching this that was like that's bedridden,
Yeah.
that had a leg amputated.
That was the same way.
That was the same way. That said, I kept pushing through. Think about grandparents. Our grandparents went workhorse. They were gone by their 60s, and their 70s, if not earlier. Many times we didn't know that it was heart attacks, it was strokes, it was blood clots. You know, we didn't talk that it was cancer.
You just lied.
You just lied, right? That it was all of these things. And we don't talk enough in the Black community about our medical, so that I have 5 children. I need all of them to know and get checked often, because I don't know where it came from for me.
Yeah.
So at least they will know to tell a doctor, well, my mom has this. My dad has this.
And we don't. We don't. We don't even know our family history of anything that's happened.
We don't talk about it. It's just so.
Or it's like
so
secret or swept under the rug for some weird reason.
For
like,
no
if
reason.
somebody is sick, let us, the family, know they're sick. Let us help them.
I think a lot of times. Go ahead. Yeah. Nope.
No,
I was gonna come in.
I was just gonna say, I always say that y'all are too poor to keep secrets.
Listen.
And it's like, you're not leaving a legacy, you're not leaving funds, you're not leaving anything behind. And again, it's important to know medical history within the family, you know, and you don't want to wait until it's too late. And that's part of what the organization does. We kind of meet people where they are in terms of having the conversations that we're not having, right? So it's like a secret has never healed anybody. You know, and so we need part of the differential in terms of care is because we have a lack of trust. Not only with providers but with each other. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know, and this is what we're trying to get to, but I never know what people are thinking in terms of why they keep those kinds of secrets. I understand like other things you may not want to share with people, but your medical history, it's like you be in a house and you're surrounded by your family and you just drop dead and nobody knew except you what was going on.
And then the next person will drop because you had this chronic illness that you didn't tell anybody, and it's in the family bloodline now, and now you don't know.
Right, and I think a lot of times, well, at least for the older generations, I know a lot of times, even with mental health, because you know they always say Black people don't do therapy. I think it's just the thank you, because I was just about to say one of the side effects of fibromyalgia is I get these fibrofogs and I cannot think of my words, and like I will lose my words and it'd be the smallest word like stigma, and I've been sitting here for 5 minutes trying to I'm gonna figure this word out before I make the statement. Thank you, Stormy. You was the hero of the day. Yes, the stigma. I think there's so much of a stigma with things like counseling and healthcare in the Black community that a lot of times we don't say things out of shame or out of not wanting to seem weak or things of that nature. And we really have to get we have to get out of that. Absolutely,
I think
absolutely. We need to shift our thought process to
especially
that.
like a lot of people are single, don't necessarily have a lot of family or a lot of family support, and it's like you're living in this cave of yours, suffering or going through these things, and nobody knows. It's like you can live in your home by yourself, and if something happens to you, then they find you like 3-5 days later.
Or years.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're not communicating, you don't have a lot of friends, you don't have a social network. Yeah, you know what I mean?
And that's cool until you get older.
It's permanent, right? And scary as you get older too, when you don't have that system in place. And so it's like, how do we get you to share what is happening with you? You know, it's kind of like, and how do we get you and the provider, the health provider, to talk to each other as human beings, as opposed to I'm the medical provider and I know it all, and you're not listening to what I'm saying, and maybe I can't express it necessarily in an intellectual way, but for instance, it's kind of like if you're the provider and you have somebody's file, and in that file it says the person is clinically depressed, they're also a substance user. Their thought is not to even get a checkup or get testing for anything really. But if you have this information, what is wrong with saying, okay, you're suffering from mental illness, you're suffering from depression, you're also a substance user, and you're a person of a certain age. So let's be proactive and test for these kinds of things because you're more at risk.
Yes. Or are you going through all that and like self-medicating and depressed because you may be dealing with a chronic illness or dealing with pain and stuff that you can't talk to anybody about or don't have that, and so the doctor is just looking at you like, oh, you have a problem, we need to fix this, but maybe that's the source of it.
Yeah.
Right.
But imagine being on medication for clinical depression, for instance, but you're also shooting up, or you know what I mean? You don't know what how that is interacting. You know what I mean? And the doctor doesn't take it upon themselves to try to figure it out, dive a little deeper into it.
So
know?
This on Instagram, and I don't know what part of the conversation. This is Jay the Libra who says, don't tell the doctor. I disagree, do not tell the doctor. And why is because most doctors are lazy and will misdiagnose you, assuming you are experiencing the same thing when sometimes you may not be. It's good to know your history, but let the doctor earn his or her salary. So basically, she's saying don't give them the medical history. So I see both sides of the coin on that one. Because if I say, because my daughter has gone in when she's had stress or something, and she'll tell them about me having cardiomyopathy. They'll do a halter on her, but they don't go further into.
Because she's younger.
Right. They don't go further into it because she doesn't have the other symptoms around it.
Gotcha.
So they'll test her on the basic level. So I get what you're saying, don't just give them all the information. Let them work for it. But at some point, I will want to share that with the doctor because it's up to us to be smart enough to not allow a doctor who's practicing. Let's be real.
I was just
That's
going
what's
to say
called
that.
practicing medicine.
That's practicing medicine.
Thank you. That's why it's called
It's
that.
called
practice
that.
on us.
They practice. I got my surgery done because I spoke up for myself. My doctor wanted me to come for another visit. No, I'm not. I had my ablation done because I have a doctor that fully listened to me and said, I can do the medication, and when I shut that down, he said, okay, well, I can go back in and do the ablation. Let's do the ablation. And the thing is, you go to a different doctor. I left my first cardiologist's office because the medicine they gave me just made me tired because it wasn't right for me. That doctor was not listening to me. I left that medical group. I went to this medical group that I'm with now. They changed me from a beta blocker to a calcium blocker, which I then had energy. They did a full workup, MRI, and everything to find out the source of the issue. I would rather you cut me open and fix that source, if you can, than to say, here are the pills that will keep it maintained.
Yeah, just keep masking it if it does that much.
I mean,
Right.
And like you said, add on other side effects.
You have to
Right.
know and believe that you can advocate for yourself.
Yes.
They count on you not advocating for yourself.
That's right.
That's true.
They make it seem like you couldn't possibly know what you're talking about.
All the time.
But you live with your body
Every day.
Every day.
You know what I mean? And so you absolutely have the right to get a second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever you need to do in order to fix what's wrong, as opposed to allowing someone to tell you that you don't know what you're talking about or you can't do
Or
it.
stop Googling.
Yeah. You were on WebMD, weren't you?
But
Yeah.
you
And
know,
there was
some
some
good
there was
information.
Right,
out there.
seriously.
And then they
Because
share
it
it with
addressed
you.
what I'm telling you.
Right.
Right.
But then some people too, they look at it like they can't afford it either. To keep switching, like depending on their insurance and things of that nature. Like I don't know. For me, I just did what I had to do, but then I'm also on Medicaid, so it's a little
That's
different.
why I'm using mine to
Yeah, like you,
Yeah,
but
and
Medicaid, you kind of
you
got
can
it
make up to
pretty
50,
good.
I think here in Virginia you can make up to about $57,000 and still be
eligible.
for
Yeah.
Medicaid. And so
And
There's
it's
options, and Medicaid, I'm not gonna hold you. It really is
It's
good.
a
I said,
program.
yeah. I've been working and still been able to utilize it because it's actually better.
Yeah, and Medicaid will also pay for some forms of cancer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yes,
that.
they will.
That's
Because
awesome.
and the thing is, the reason why is because it's becoming so rampant, so rampant.
They're looking at a check
So,
or funding.
It's Medicaid is designed to take care of those that can't take care of or afford
Correct.
to be
Yeah.
taken care of. And so it used to be just moms and babies.
Yeah.
That was the main ones, or if you were over a certain age, or if you were disabled.
Yeah.
But then they had the realization that everybody in
In
between
between.
also can't afford to be making, even at $21 an hour, to have medical insurance for just yourself may be
Yes.
affordable.
Maybe.
But most people have a partner
Kids.
and a family. Now you went from this, $73 at each paycheck to $400 and some odd dollars per pay period. That's before rent, that is before food, that is before lights, water, and those are just the basics.
Yeah.
A lot
The
of times
car to
before
get you
taxes.
there before, and it is before
They take
taxes.
it. So they take
They
it.
take it. So Medicaid recognized, especially during COVID, so there are some bright points that have come from that. That damn, it is a lot of people that's showing up for COVID testing because we pushing this on everybody. Get the test, get the vaccine, but moms can't afford it. So what do? Oh, we have this program
Medicaid for y'all.
that we absolutely utilize
And change plans
and
too.
change
to-
plans, right? So why not allow this cancer-ridden world?
Yeah.
Because I always feel like, and this is just my theory, y'all. The show is not responsible for the theories that Coach K can throw out into the world. Because this is just how I feel. I truly feel like cancer is in our body. Not as cancer though,
It's not.
but it's there. Because I know it's an overgrowth of white blood cells.
Yeah, it's an
We-
inflammation.
Right. We all have white blood cells. So something happens, all your cells go there and they try to repair this thing. Then you get a mass. Someone who's never smoked a day in their life, haven't experienced secondhand smoke. They have lived a clean life. They don't drink. They just do all things good. But they have lung cancer.
Where
Okay.
could it become from?
And it's one that is seen in most smokers. So why my lung and the neighbor next door
That sheep.
that smokes every single
Shame.
day,
Nothing.
so they have that, it's
They
nothing.
running around.
And so I don't believe that it's this, it's just for people that smoke or it's just for people that drink
Or eat hard.
or that eat meats and all this stuff. Now granted, yes, some of that stuff can enhance it, but some of the basics, these clean living fruits and vegetables, they spraying the fruits and vegetables with stuff too.
Pesticides.
Let me tell you, if you pay attention to and alter your diet, I did it because I used to have joint pain. Like, again, I still eat. I get my eat on.
She do.
But I
Every night we
my
leave,
food.
she be like, I'm going
No,
home.
I'm
I'm
going.
gonna eat this,
You
this,
did
this.
last time.
Don't put
Them
scallops.
beans and them
Yeah, y'all
butter
heard
hot
me.
dogs.
I am cooking scallops and rice tonight. But I pay attention to all that. Do I do this overabundance of, I need to, put the baking soda on the strawberries and clean it and swish it out? Okay, I'm gonna rinse that thing off and I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna go
I
ahead
need to
and
see the foam come
I
over
don't
my
put-
shit.
But for you, that's different.
Baking soda, white vinegar, cold water. Let's
And
get
clean
it.
it all up. But that's totally different because you know that for you. But the small change that I made with juicing a juice and I drink a smoothie, I make a smoothie myself. It is not expensive. I can buy one cantaloupe, one honeydew, and one personal-sized watermelon. $4.99, $3.99, $2.99.
Yep.
I can cut that
Whole
thing up,
thing, yep.
and I can make 8
All
food
week.
cups.
Yep.
Did you see my reel from today? I made my smoothie. I did a smoothie reel today. I did
I
a
saw the
smoothie copycat on the peanut paradise. Peanut.
So
That's
the
one I
cost
like.
of one smoothie,
It's been
you can make that smoothie yourself
10 times.
3 times.
It's
So let me ask you,
It's like less than $1 for me to
Brian, about when it comes to the organization. How exactly do you all work with, like, educating the caregivers, and like how in depth is the organization?
So we meet people again where they are. We have conversations. We try not to create atmosphere or energy, us versus them.
Mm-hmm.
It's really about, let's talk about this. Let's see where we are with it, why we are with it, what we're not saying,
Mm-hmm.
why we're not saying it, and how can we fix that? Because the bigger picture is advocating for oneself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't advocate for yourself if you're silent. You can't advocate for yourself if the other person or people that you're talking to can't hear you
Mm-hmm.
or won't hear you. So it's really about having a conversation with people. Black people in particular in this country, we only make up 13% of the population, but we are 38% in terms of cancer diagnosis. A large part of that is because of what we're not saying.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, for instance, was diligent in getting mammograms, all that kind of stuff, but she did suffer from depression. And she was diagnosed in October and was gone in December.
Oh,
Damn.
wow.
Same year?
Same, 2 months apart. So it's kind of like, you know, as her caretaker,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even able to grasp everything that was happening because it was happening so quickly. This organization, this foundation, is an extension of who she was as a person. And a lot of times, we get forgotten in history as if we didn't exist. And I used to watch her serve people. I mean, I grew up in the projects, we lived in the projects, but she had an open door policy. I mean, we had drug dealers, prostitutes, everything coming up in our house. She provided shelter, she provided food, she provided clothing, sometimes to strangers, sometimes to people she knew. So even in her diagnosis, she had, it may have been false hope, in terms of her wanting to make everybody else feel good about it, but she exuded hope about beating it. She had 1 chemo treatment, and then she was gone. You know, and so she was such a great example in terms of me watching her as I was growing up, in terms of being able to give back with nothing. And a lot of times people think that you have to have a lot to give a lot.
Because I be giving and I ain't got shit.
And you don't, right. And so, and prior to her, my grandmother, my grandfather, my aunts, cousins, all died from cancer.
Damn.
So, and again, there were periods of time where some of that was just like back to back to back to back to back. And you almost become numb to it. But in that, I was in my head always thinking, how can I turn this tragedy into something more impactful? You know, and so that's how the foundation came about. And so what we did, and I just had a conversation with a medical provider the other day, and I wasn't really chastising him, but I'm like, you guys don't do enough. You might think it's going above and beyond, but it's really within your purview of what you should be doing with people, you know, and not have a linear way of thinking in terms of how you deal with individual patients. Everyone is an individual, and so you can't speak to everyone the same. There are educational levels, there are understanding levels, and don't take it for granted that people don't want help just because they're not understanding the conversation.
And even cultural differences, because a lot of cultures, since America is the melting pot, there are cultural differences when it comes to healthcare,
Yeah.
procedures, diagnoses,
Yeah.
and things of the
Sure.
nature as well. So definitely, thank you for holding that doctor accountable.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
provider accountable, because I feel like a lot of times they're not held accountable because they are the quote unquote end all be all. If they have that doctor in front of their name, and it is a practice, and because everyone's body is different, because we are all evolving,
Yeah.
it's constantly changing. The medical field, medicines, our bodies, evolution is constantly
Yes.
changing.
Yes.
So you can't look at this the same.
New diseases or new conditions are constantly being,
Or are they new or just the
found.
stuff that they
Right.
wasn't checking?
That part. That's why I say new.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah,
is new.
right.
New ones is fine.
My thing is we're
Right.
all humans, and because we're humans, we're fallible.
Mhm.
And so I have every right to question you about my care.
Right.
You know, you are not the authority,
Over
Over
you.
me.
That's
Right.
you know, on my care, and we are going to work in partnership
Okay.
to fix this, or we're not going to work together at all. And so I want to hold not only the providers, not only the doctors to task, but also us.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
So
what
we
it
have to take
starts.
accountability for ourselves.
we have to take
We are
accountability,
biggest
and
advocates.
like I said, we have to advocate for ourselves. When something is wrong, we have to be able to say something is wrong, and you have to. If that is the only authority that we have, really, then you have to be able to communicate with them, and whatever that looks like, then that's what it is. But and so there has to be a partnership. It's not you telling me or me telling you. There has to be a partnership because we have to work together for this thing, to fix this thing, you know what I mean? And so, with the foundation, that's what we hope to achieve. We hope to have more dialogue, and we hope to have more people getting tested. And not just for cancer,
Right.
cancer is our platform, but not just for cancer, like anything that's bothering you, and you don't know what it is, and you can't fix it, and ginger ale won't cure it.
Don't tell
Ginger
me.
ale, Beverly, don't do that. Don't do ginger ale. You get good Schweppes, and I am bad. I'm gonna go.
I mean, whole video for my mama.
Ah, ginger, I wanna give you some. I'm gonna give you
Yeah,
some.
so I mean,
Sweats.
then we also have to do the work.
Yes.
You know, and there are thousands of agencies out there, but for me, there seems to be a disconnect with the underserved communities,
Right.
people who have less,
Mhm.
you know, the mentally challenged, because
Mhm.
there's so many
They
people who are not in that
yes.
arena, don't want to really deal with that.
Right.
And substance abusers, you know, it's like, oh, give them like for heroin users, what is the
Narcan.
methadone,
Methadone.
Yeah.
you know,
And they'll
just
be
give them
okay.
methadone and
But it's like, why did they even start that?
yeah.
Like, it's
But
something
that's
going
also
on with them
addictive.
to even, like,
That's also addictive.
Yes.
So
It is.
it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm not shooting the heroin, but
You're
now I'm
just
addicted
replacing
to
it with
this.
something
I'm just
else.
replacing
Because
it.
it's legal.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Because
Like
those
alcohol.
illegal drugs are
yeah.
like, I could, and I don't, because I do not know how to. I could smoke 100 blunts, right? And I will be high as gas and probably calling the police saying that my skin crawling off me, and I might stop at a stop sign and wait for it to turn green.
Yeah.
But if I took 100 to leave, my ass could be dead.
Yeah.
And they
That's
sell that at the
crazy.
store. Hello,
Yeah.
they sell that at the store.
Don't even check it for ID. You know
Don't
how some
check-
cold medicines or cold cough medicines and stuff.
They haven't
They
checked
check,
ID.
yeah, check ID.
Oh no, I
Yeah,
can go
And
back.
that's only because of how they're used in the industry
Because they-
now.
Because we've been told it,
Yeah.
because they were not doing that.
No, they
Let's
were
go
not.
the last
And,
few
and a
years.
lot of times it doesn't even get done, or it's not a problem until it affects other ethnicities or other races.
Oh, the
or
pills,
other-
the
other
kids
races.
that was showing up that was
Even-
ODing on pills.
Yeah.
Even the language is different. You know,
Absolutely.
Mhm.
we're crackheads and they are opioid
Opioid
users.
Users.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
I'm
They're
just like,
sick.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
now it's a
Amen.
disease.
Now it's a disease.
Let's
Literally.
write bills
It's a
to
disease.
fund treatment.
Yes. Of those pill
For
bottles.
Oh
those-
my
yeah.
gosh, yes.
Those opioid users.
Like the housewife that just sips her wine and takes a little Vicodin.
At the same
At the
time.
same time, she washed it down with the Vicodin.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So some people who may be just joining on, you talked about the foundation. So what is the foundation?
So the foundation again is an advocacy group serving underserved, mentally challenged, and substance user communities. Specifically here in Richmond right now, hopefully we'll grow.
Take hope for
No,
that.
you will grow.
Yeah.
We are
But
growing.
but the idea is very grassroots, and it's very like roll up your sleeves and get in the mud. You know what I mean? And like I said, meeting people where they are as opposed to having some kind of authority over them. So on July 20th, we're having our first panel discussion regarding surviving cancer and the questions that we're not talking about.
And where's
And that's going to be at the Fairfield by Marriott in Sandston, Virginia.
and the
3
name
to
of the
5.
foundation?
It's the Joan L. Dargan Foundation.
That's your mom.
That's my mom.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, again, it was part of it is how do you honor and celebrate the person you cherish the most? And the answer for me was doing good in the community, making sick people well, or trying to.
Continuing what she
Yeah.
started.
Yeah, without the fanfare, you know, like I said, Raven Street, Gilpin Court.
Come on, Raven.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, yeah, how do you, with nothing, give back to your community? You know what I mean? If you're healthy, then, you know, the next generation learns to be healthy and the next generation learns to be healthier.
Just from
Yeah.
discussions.
Yeah, just from conversation.
That's the
It
hardest
starts
part.
with
That's what people
conversation.
are scared
Yeah,
of.
conversation is absolutely the hardest part. It's difficult because people. It's difficult a lot of times for the truth to be in front of you because then you have to deal with it.
But it's like relearning, you
Yeah.
know, retraining yourself, because if you're black and southern, a lot of times your stuff is usually, you're not transparent, your stuff is hidden, you don't talk about anything, it's nobody's business.
Right.
Going in the
Until
Stay in the house.
you're, yeah.
And I love how all of our topics end up intertwining into each other like from weeks back. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's kind of like, it doesn't affect you until it does, you know what I mean? It's like, because you're quiet, now your daughter is growing up and is now having those same things that you had, and she doesn't know why, or he or son doesn't
Or
know
thinks it's
why.
normal. Like,
Yeah,
it's part
thinks
of.
it no, thinks it's normal.
Right.
Yep. And we don't have these conversations with our partners, or we don't
Yeah.
know our history with these partners before we procreate and make these babies.
Thank you.
And pass these
Listen.
conditions along.
Yeah,
And that's very important. And it's not a conversation that a lot of us have.
yeah.
Or can
So,
have.
or think about to say, hey babe, what's your family's medical?
Or do
right?
they know?
Do they know?
Do you know?
There you go.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
ironic because I just found my biological father 2 years ago. He's
Wow.
deceased, but I just found out who he was.
Mhm.
And I was diagnosed with diabetes in 2015. And I was a denier, you know, because I'm like, nobody in my family has diabetes. Like, what are you talking about? You just want to, and they didn't even give me like medicine options. They was just like jab. Like
Oh.
the same day I was diagnosed,
That's great.
they stabbed me with insulin, right? And so on Ancestry since 2017, doing all this work, looking up people, finally came across my father's family. And I spoke to his sister, and she says, "Let me ask you a question. Do you have diabetes?" And that's such a weird question.
Oh my
for me.
God.
That's such a weird question for me, because typically it's like cancer or something
Right.
like that. And she was like, "Do you have diabetes?" And I was like, yeah, actually I do." She's like, "Oh, because almost all the men on this side of the family have diabetes."
And that's something you would want to know
Yes.
early on so that you can be preventative
Proactive.
about it.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct.
And so,
So-
with that, I'm sorry, but
Go ahead, because
so
you
I'm
got
just thinking about, especially thinking about diabetes. Everyone is looking at you like there's nothing wrong with you whatsoever. All you
Right.
gotta do is eat this, don't drink that, and you will be
fine.
fine.
And probably think you can eat everything in the world just because of your, you know.
No, they'll tell you don't eat
Yeah,
eat this
true.
thing, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And
Like,
ironically,
that's
I
it.
eat like a bird. Like I don't eat a lot of the,
So you
although
don't
I'm
even know
like
how.
southern rooted, like
I
I
can
don't,
see that.
I don't eat a lot of the stuff that we traditionally eat.
Right.
And so that was part of the denial too. I was like, that's impossible.
I don't even eat that stuff, but it's
And
in
the whole
your,
time
But it's in my
it's
DNA.
passed down, and
Yeah.
that
And I was like,
Having
oh,
this
this makes
is
sense.
so necessary. This conversation is so necessary. And I'm glad you said that because you did not know him. You did not take up his habits. He is in you no matter what. That bloodline came to you.
Yeah.
Now, had you known, could it have been prevented? Who knows?
Well, I mean, I was told that I was predispositioned to have it because of my genetics.
Yeah.
You know, like I was probably gonna get it
No matter what.
Yeah. But I feel like it's just kind of like.
Yeah. But
now it's like having that information. It's like now, like I can take my child and you know have them tested and
right.
you know.
And just stay diligent on your doctors when things are happening because with diabetes, you lose limbs.
Yeah.
You lose life, of course.
Yeah.
But everything.
So many things.
And we don't. Diabetes became low totem pole talk now when it comes to diseases, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not low totem pole.
Especially for the sufferer.
No.
Yeah. Especially for the sufferer, you know, it's like just like pains and stuff that other people have. You know, it's like we go through the same thing. I mean, there was a period of time where I literally had to crawl to open my door. There were months where I couldn't move, like especially during the pandemic, I was like bedridden. You know, I had lost so much weight. I was having neuropathy constantly.
Ouch.
You know, and I felt like my legs were on fire, and it's like I couldn't even put on a sneaker. I couldn't walk. I couldn't. If everything felt like a pin.
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel mentally?
I honestly, there were times when I was like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. I'm not gonna survive this.
Like I don't even care.
Yeah. I'm over it.
Take me on now.
But I also felt like I had to participate in not healing because obviously I still have diabetes, but getting better. And I felt like I was literally willing myself to get up, learning how to re-walk or walk again. Mentally challenging myself to not be in the dark place, even though there were dark days. You know,
and that's the easiest place to be
That is
because
the
you're already
there.
You're already there, and it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Yes. Days when I get stuck, especially in the winter when it's cold, because the cold is one of my triggers. It makes my body lock up. And so I have days literally, and this is so when I stopped nursing, unfortunately, it was because like I had 3 days where I could not get out of the bed. Like I wanted to, in my mind, I was like, okay, 5 minutes, I'm gonna get up. And it was so frustrating, and I remember just laying there crying because it's like, I want to get up, and my body literally is holding me hostage in this bed. And people don't understand that, and employers don't care. And from being an entrepreneur, from being a business owner, and who's a business owner, I understand why they don't care, because the business goes on.
It don't stop.
However, as the sufferer, where does that leave me?
Yeah.
And it left me in a very hard place because I want to get up and come do my job, but I can't. And then even as a nurse, that puts my patients in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not in my full strength capacity, then
can't
I can't move them and I can't help them.
Or you're lifting them.
Or you may,
And
if you're feeling bad, you know what I'm saying, that immune is weakened and stuff like that, it can be bad for both of you all.
Yeah, so I had a nursing client and she had MS. I want to get it right. She had MS. ALS, she had MS. She was in a scooter. So she was very high functioning, but I had to help her shower, which meant transferring her from her scooter into the shower.
Yeah.
And then I had to bathe her. And she was not a small woman. She was about 6 feet tall. And she was
dead weight.
She was thicker than me and Kanye put together. So she was a nice sized woman. So yeah, and she could pivot, you know, she could stand pivot, but like I was her legs. I was holding her up to get her from there. And one day she said, Angel, I love you, but I had been in the hospital, so I think I was out 2 weeks. They sent her another nurse. Hurt me to my heart, because she was like, I ran to her husband in PetSmart about a year or two back, and he recognized me. Hurt me to my heart. She's like, yeah, Angel, I want you to be my nurse, but I just don't feel safe with you transferring me. And I understood, absolutely. But I left it up to her. I left it up to her. I went back to work. I reported back to work on the day that I was supposed to be back, because I'm a great nurse. I'm a good person. I'm a great worker. But you know, she had to say that to me, and I think that was the first time when I realized, like, damn, shit is really different. Yeah, like this shit is really different because I can't do the things
Can't argue with her.
that I'm used to being able to do. So now it's like, what do I do? And then after that, I was stuck in the house. And I was stuck in the house for like a month and a half. Then I started baking. I started baking. But yeah, I was stuck in the house, and I loved nursing. I did not like the politics. So the politics of the medical field is what made me so that's why I did not return, because the patient care was my passion.
No,
the patient care was my passion. I started out as a CNA at home nursing. I did the bachelor's degree program at South University and was straight A student. Yeah, like I'm literally, as I sit here right now, I'm probably about a semester and a half, 2 semesters from from having a bachelor's of science as a nurse. And I had to stop. Yes, girl. And I had to stop. I'm an EMS. I used to ride the ambulance. I loved it. I loved it, girl. Loved it. 5:30 in the morning, I was there. I was there. Suited and booted. I'm gonna go to sleep. 5:30 a.m. I was there. I was suited and booted. I had my EMT uniform. I had my boots. I was ready to go. I'm sitting in the like this with my hot chocolate. Like, when is the call coming through? I don't know. I posted my first ambulance ride and everything. Like, y'all, I'm in the back of the ambulance. The lights, like, it was. I loved it. I loved the patient care. But I had to stop it at the level that I was because of what I was doing. Because I became the patient and I had to care for myself. Absolutely.
And I know that even mentally was probably like.
It was a lot. It's still a lot. Like,
especially when it's in the medical field.
That part, and I mean, it became a lot. Even like today, it's a lot because I'm still a mom. I still got to parent these children. And my son's room is directly across the hall from me. He'll see me sitting in the room, and I have to. I'm very transparent, so I will tell him sometimes when he walks past, like, look, I'm not in here not working. I'm working, but I'm sitting right here working right now because this is what's comfortable for my body. So don't think that your mama is in here being a bum because I'm not. And that's probably my guilt talking because I feel like I'm where you're at. And he always, my babies are so. They give me so much grace. They give me so much grace. And he's like, Mom, you're okay? Like, I know you're okay. Are you okay? Can I bring you something? And I love them for that.
We have to learn to give ourselves grace.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, it's like, you're not a bum because you're not doing something.
I be feeling like you. Same question for you that I have for Kanye. In working with the organization, what is the biggest area of concern that you see when it comes to our community and chronic illness and awareness and patience and advocacy for the sufferers?
There are a few things, actually.
Let's give them all to us.
Part of it is the secrecy, the lack of wanting to have a conversation, or the feeling of, or the inability of that you can't have the conversation. Guilt. Feeling like you don't want to put your troubles on anyone. Not knowing where to begin in terms of your health care. Not knowing or feeling like you know how to ask the first question. But that's part of the partnership between the provider and the patient. It's like, what I can't say, piggyback and figure it out. And maybe that's asking too much, or maybe they would say that's asking too much, but then we can't be at a standstill, so we have to work.
But what are they there for?
We have to. Well, again, they're human beings.
That's true.
And they're practicing.
You're right. Yeah.
And they don't necessarily understand communities that they serve.
Right. They're just there to do a job.
And so it's very general, it's very linear. But sometimes you may need to go outside of that linear way of thinking to help this particular person. But also that person has to say, when the doctor says, are you feeling like this? And you have to be able to say, no, that's not what it is. That's not what I'm feeling. And then, so that's part of it. Again, having a conversation for us as the organization, having conversations with people to not make them feel less than or inferior, but to empower them to have the wherewithal to say, I never felt like I could do this, but now, talking to you, I feel like, oh yeah, I can ask a question or get a second or third opinion. and feel good about that. You know
Something
what I
that's
mean?
simple, just
Something
feeling
simple.
confident to
Yeah.
ask a
Ask a
question.
question.
Yeah.
That's what we need in organizations. And yeah, I can appreciate that you have an organization that is an extension of the basic organization, the ones that raises the money for the research and the one that raises the money for the cure. Well, you know what? We needed the one that talks to the human beings.
Yeah.
The one that says, you absolutely have the right to ask that question.
Yeah.
You absolutely have the right to say, I refuse this treatment, but I need you to tell me about this
Because a
treatment.
lot of people know that they can refuse
They
the
can
treatment.
refuse
Yes.
You
the
can absolutely
Yes.
refuse the treatment.
without being out of just shit out of luck.
Yeah.
And if you do feel that way, then you don't need to deal with that.
Then you
provider.
don't need to deal with that provider. So to have an organization that is people driven, and there's the ones that are getting the money in for the research and all, they are definitely people driven. Just on the back end, you all are on the front end, the front lines of this is happening to you now.
Yeah.
And this is how we put our hand on your back
Yeah.
to be your support, while the other organization are doing.
No, for real. That analogy and that fact that you did
That's
that was
perfect,
so
yeah.
perfect, because people don't really realize how good that right there
Yes,
is
that's
just
it,
support.
though. That's
That's
it.
a support
And
right
And that's
there.
what your organization is for, the people who are afraid. If I get this diagnosis, I can tell you right now, if I get a diagnosis and they say you have cancer, I'm one of those realists. I'm like, what we gonna do? But I don't know the questions to ask.
Right.
I don't know the very first question to ask. I can tell you how I feel. And because I really don't know what I don't know, you can also just kind of fumble over what I said and say, oh, we're going to give you, here's the general thing.
Yeah.
So now I know that there's an organization that I can come to and say, this is what's happening. I know what I feel. Can you help me to formulate this question so that I get what I actually need? Because I don't need Percocet.
Right.
I don't need another shot of Demerol.
Right.
I don't care about the pain. I care about this thing that keeps happening, and I feel it over and over.
Yeah.
Is there something in there?
Yeah.
So the organization seems like that is that people
That front line.
that frontline support. Tell us the name of this organization again. And there's an event that is coming up very soon that
Two events.
Two events. So tell us about that once more so that we don't not know.
So the name of the organization, the foundation, is the Joan L. Dargan Foundation. On July 20th, 2024, from 3 to 5 p.m., we'll be at the Fairfield by Marriott in Sanson, Virginia. We're having a conversation, a panel discussion. Our featured speaker is Reverend Joseph Waddy. And the topic is surviving cancer and the conversations that we're not having. And it's really a platform for people to share their stories in hopes that it will reach other people. We do want to press upon people to get cancer detection screenings before it's too late. We don't like to hear about fourth stage, when it possibly could have been prevented or treated. And then October 25th, we have our Black Tie Gala. It's our third year.
Okay. You said when?
October 25th.
Yeah, I'll be there.
That's what I listen.
October 25th, so we ask people to come and dress up, and we provide entertainment, food, drinks. It's a really good time. We had a DJ. I mean, people in ball gowns took off their shoes and was doing the electric slide and
I
stuff
love
like
it.
that. So it was,
Listen to this man over here with the electric slide.
it was
I'm all about
fantastic.
a party for a purpose.
Yes.
So you said that you all kind of roll your sleeves up and get your hands in the mud. Do you all, are you all accepting volunteers? And if someone wants to become involved with the organization, how would one do that?
Yeah, contact me at the Joan L. Dargan Foundation at gmail.com, and we can have a conversation about what it is that, how do you think you can be impactful. Just the fact that the volunteerism is impactful as is. You know what I mean? It's like it's really a one-man band at this point. So any volunteers would be welcomed.
Yeah, come on and be band members with the
Come on.
I definitely
Let's
want
save
to be-
lives together.
Yes.
Hello.
Can you type the name of the foundation or the website right here for me? We're gonna pin it, please.
Sure.
I also have
Oh,
an event
okay.
coming up at the
Yeah.
end of July, and with Cricket Wireless, and I would like to donate to your foundation. So we're going to.
It starts somewhere, that's right. That is awesome that we have these organizations right here in Richmond, Virginia.
So close.
I always look for the ones that are, and that's the part that matters to me. So Joan L. Dargan is the foundation. I will make sure that you all have the information. I will probably put up in posts. I know, right? We all over. We're worldwide. So tonight's topic, which was chronic illness and intimacy, we had a very good discussion where we also learned about the Joan L. Dargan Foundation, which is all about the people support when it comes to our cancer our cancer survivors, even our warriors who are fighting from the other side, because they don't just leave us, they make sure that they support us in their likeness. And so you can also be a part of that change by becoming a volunteer, by donating to the foundation. I will make sure that you have that information for sure.
And I
So
just want
you can
to
do that.
can I just say something about donations too?
Yes.
So a lot of times people think donations have to be significant,
Mm-hmm.
but my grandmother used to tell me pennies make dollars,
Hello.
Okay.
right? And so we accept any amount. It's not ties and
Right.
you know,
Like,
not 10% of the church.
It's not 10%. You don't have to give every month.
Subscriptions.
Yeah, none of that. But pennies make dollars, and so any support would be welcomed, and we're grateful for it. We've been funding the foundation by selling artwork and
Oh, maybe I'm coming to do art show.
well, the October 25th. Oh, and I do want to say this. October 25th, the Black Tie Gala will include a fashion show where all the models are cancer survivors.
Come on.
Yes.
I love it.
That is awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
love
My mom
that.
is a cancer survivor, and I want to make sure that she is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, my aunt is too. That's
Yeah.
Wow.
Unfortunately, out of all the members of my family who have had cancer, I don't know that I have any survivors. That's crazy. On both sides. So my grandparents, my great grandparents, and my grandparents on my father's side. My grandfather on my mother's side. My mom's mom was Alzheimer's and dementia, but her dad was cancer, and his siblings were cancer.
And all of them will be there along with Miss Joan,
Yeah.
who's gonna be watching.
And my aunt is the only one that has her.
Right.
Oh, let me see Miss Joan.
She's
Oh yes.
so.
Yes, she looks like a baby.
Thank you.
Well, we are very excited to support Miss Joan and the Joan L. Dargan Foundation, and support you, Brian,
And the community.
and the
still.
community,
Yeah.
right?
And the community.
Thank
We
you
are
for
going to
what you
continue
do.
what she began
Yeah.
many years ago.
Yeah.
And I
mean,
appreciate
when
you
you talk
talking
about
about it.
purpose, when you talk about purpose, you sometimes you can go through most of your life, if not all of it,
Mhm.
trying to figure it out. And this is definitely, I mean, I do a lot of different things, but this is definitely the purpose.
What would you like to see for the organization? Like moving forward, what direction would you like to grow in, so that we can
I would
bring
like,
you volunteers to help you achieve that vision?
I would like to see more survivors.
Awesome.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Period.
Yeah.
That's it.
Say less. Say less.
Yeah, I'd like to see more survivors.
That's awesome.
My wheels are turning.
Thank you all so
Yes.
much for tuning in. If you all are just tuning in, we are here with Mr. Brian Dargan, Coach K, and Stormy Demaya. Stormy, you are super because you've been here with us for every episode. So you are y'all both actually have been with us other nigga? That's my song. What y'all want to talk about Tuesday after next? We can do this every other Tuesday. But thank you all so much for being here because the discussions are paramount to change. And the discussions are paramount to education, awareness, proactiveness, instead of reactiveness. And I was talking to one of my homeboys last night, shout out Steve-O, and we were talking about how as Black people, as a culture, we tend to be more reactive and less proactive. And I would love to see us be, it's in us, it's in our DNA.
Yeah.
The trauma is there. But I would like to see us get to a point to where we are able to overcome that and start being forward thinking and progressive thinking and start being more proactive, and not just about healthcare, but about all of these things that impact us. You know, we get on social media and everything is a party and we lit and we turn it up, and that is phenomenal. I love it. I love to see everybody winning and having those moments. And for mental health, we need those moments, but we also need the educational moments. We also need the give back moments. We also need those moments of awareness because shit is serious out here. It is very serious. And what we do now determines what the future looks like for our offspring and for our grandchildren and for generations after us, as did the generations before.
And I think that's the issue. We don't think that hard, like that far in advance.
Nope.
Like even down to like you said, the grandchildren. We don't think like, you know, so much people out here having kids, but you don't think about what about when they have children? What about, you know, from that point on, it's a lot of secrets, like we said. It's a lot of things we don't discuss in terms of health and all those things. So like, where do they end up? They're just here.
But also believe in your legacy.
Yeah.
Believe that you have something to offer this world. Like you're not here by mistake.
Yeah.
Right.
And so believe in your legacy, and part of that legacy is your well-being and taking care of yourself. If you're not good, you can't be good for anybody else. You know, and a lot of times when you're working a job or whatever, I mean, I've just recently had so many emails where somebody has recently died, but it's like we send condolences to these people, and look, these new people are coming in, taking their place.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so,
it's like a revolving door.
in all things, we have to put ourselves first.
Yeah.
In all things.
Yeah, you have to be your biggest advocate, and I think that's a challenge for a lot of people. I know for me, I don't want to be somebody else's burden. I don't want to sound like I'm always complaining. If I verbally express every time I'm in pain, I would be saying it every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then people will be
I
like,
don't switch positions like 30,000 times since I was sitting in this chair. Sitting face,
Oh,
series of time.
But I was the same way.
I be shifting, listen. I'm gonna throw my ankle on Brian's leg in a minute because I gotta stretch these things out. But yes, like I don't want to be a burden.
But speak.
And I'm being better.
But you're also being a burden to yourself.
To yourself.
Thank you.
And that's what, the one
You
thing I
carry all the
learned
weight.
at McDonald's. I was 14 years old, 15. I used to get so frustrated when people came to the menu and they didn't know what to order. And I had one manager that told
I
me,
can see that.
oh, listen, I was 14. I was like so annoyed. Like, what the fuck
She probably get them together. Like, ma'am.
what do you want? And I got so
Pull
mad.
around so you figure
But
it out.
the
rocket
manager told me, he said, this is your 100th time hearing it, but it's their first time saying it.
Yeah.
So it's okay to say it every single time until the people around you just know.
Yeah.
And I will honestly say, I'm a little bit there too, you know. But now, if I'm getting to that place, if I feel this tingle, I'm gonna lay out. And if my husband's like, well, what you doing? I'm chilling. He knows that the only time that I'm chilling, right? If I'm chilling, there's something going on. And I may wait a day, I may wait 2 days to say, you know, I really had a rough the other day. Because I might not be wanting to talk about it, but we've gotten to a place of understanding that I'm a different type of lazy. Like, yeah, I'm lazy as hell. That's why I'm so inventive. Like, I can create ways to do stuff that I don't have to actually do stuff. Right.
I can do shit without doing shit.
Like, I love it. Look, lazy are very inventive.
Listen, work smarter, not harder, okay? Listen.
But he knows there's a difference. So he knows that if I'm in that flat mode of I'm chilling, then there's something that's going on.
And having a supportive partner is so important. You know, in operating in transparency, going through the separation, that's one of my biggest fears. Because my husband was very supportive. So when we were together and I was going through my flares, and probably even now until he moves out, which will be probably happening soon. But if I was having a flare, and I don't do it, like, it's been probably a couple of years now. It's been how long was I in the venue? Like 3 years? So probably for the past 3 years, I have suffered in silence in the bed or in the venue, in my office, on the sofa.
Yeah.
But when I was first diagnosed, he was extremely supportive. And I would have days moments where I would just be like, I'm about to have a flare, or my thing was, I'm about to have a fit, like, babe, I'm about to have a fit, I can feel it coming. Because I knew I was about to be yelling, I was about to be a bitch, like, don't ask me shit, don't touch me, I don't want to be touched, because nerves run all over your body.
Yes.
So there are times, like, even me sitting here, if I cross my legs, my body will hurt itself.
Right.
So just my leg touching my other leg is annoying as fuck after like 10 minutes. So you'll see me here, but then you'll see me here, and I gotta be cognizant of to turn my back. So like I'm constantly moving, but it's like on the one end I have to be constantly moving in order to not be in so much pain. But the constant moving makes me exhausted and it puts me back in pain. So it's like, what do you do? I'm gonna just lay here. I'm just lay here. So bitch, you can't do that either.
You create your support system at that point. Because him being a support pre this doesn't always mean he's not a support at post that.
You know, we're great friends. My fear is, like we said,
right.
I'm sorry.
I hear you.
No, because he is the most supportive. The most supportive. My fear is what we were talking about earlier. The older you get, and the more you see your friends pass on, you know, your children get older and then they move on to other states. My children are here right now. Because of my children and my relationship with my children, I don't think that my children will ever be far away from me unless I move state.
Right.
But
And
you
even if
still
I
have to
move
create
state,
your support system.
I do. So but that's my fear. Because girl, you know people, you know me and people, I know the people in right now.
Trust me.
So that's my fear is who's gonna be the pick of the litter when I gotta create the support
And that
system.
you
Like,
feel safe.
Right, and sometimes people are inherently your support.
yeah.
Sometimes you don't necessarily have to designate. Sometimes people will pull together
And just
and
do
be
it.
the support
You
that
gotta
you
tell
need.
me.
And I'm just
don't
worried.
allow me. You got to tell me.
No, I know you.
Okay, you
I know
gotta tell
you.
me.
We've been in this game for what? How many years? I know you. I also know your heart. Okay, I know your heart.
Yes.
I know you. I know your heart.
I'm like, now you on the floor. Do you need my help there?
Are you
Do
good?
you want me to pick you up? Because I saw you like wiggling a little bit.
You
I
want to
think
take
you
a
got
nap
it,
and lay
baby.
there?
Don't.
Or
You want a blanket?
You want a blanket or a pillow?
Oh, you
Should I
hurt.
help you up? That's gonna be this one. But no, you are absolutely right. I think I've been so traumatized by people recently, and I know that takes healing.
Disappointment.
But I've been so
Oh, no, you're right.
traumatized by people
Cheers to
recently that I started cutting myself off from certain people in certain instances just to be able to maintain my peace.
Yeah.
Because I am in pain. And because sometimes that you never know, my tolerance might be here at 5 o'clock, but at 5:01 my tolerance is down here. So you could have gotten away with that shit at 5:00.
Right.
But at 5:01 I'm gonna punch you in your face. And I'm not gonna care
I
that I
feel
did it.
that so much
Bitch,
though.
listen. Because, okay, when the wind blows, it might change.
Yeah, we about to wrap you up because you about to get hyped. So go on, wrap. Let's put your hands on
Right,
your
I'm too
leg.
close to
Yeah,
that.
what? Let's fast back. Oh,
Because when
When the wind blows, it might change. But what I'm saying is, I have cut myself off, to maintain my mental peace, my mental health, and my peace. Not saying that it'll continue on this way.
right, just for now.
For now, I have had to cut myself off from so many people, and you know, life, it when the wind blows, it changes.
Right.
So my fear is when I am older, and when there are, you know, quote unquote, less people that you know, or less people that you're comfortable with, being vulnerable around. What does that look like for me now that I may not?
It means that you're only around the people that matter.
And
And you also don't know what'll happen in the future. So
And
you
there's
can
7
say that
billion.
you may not have a major
Yeah.
support system, but you probably will. You don't know that.
I like to think that I will. I
There's
know
7
my
billion
baby's gonna take
people
care of
on
me regardless.
Right.
So if
you
I
put
find
some
my
off.
kids that
Right.
There's 7
I be telling my
billion
mama
Right.
every day, you better get yourself together.
look, Sunday I was like,
My
man,
kids threaten me all the time.
There's 7 billion people on this planet. You have the ability to make new friends and to make new family and to bring people into your life.
thank you all for that.
Yeah, and so the people that you have that go, even if it's temporarily, probably that needed to happen.
Yeah.
Because
It was
people
definitely a
don't
reason.
necessarily always respect boundaries.
Hello.
That part.
You know, and so
That's gonna be the next
Cause I'm telling you, I had a week.
boundaries
Just saying, I had a
and
week.
intimacy.
Hey,
Yeah,
And this one, no, boundary for me is like black and white.
yeah.
we ain't got that much chocolate in this.
Listen, because I'm about to tell y'all one more time to wrap this toast so I can go cook my scallops. Right. One more time.
One more
One more time.
Now she ready to go eat.
Oh yeah.
She ready to go eat.
It's good that time.
She hungry. I told her
I saw that foot. That foot
I
is
don't want
going like
time at
thumper.
the last show, I said.
I'm gonna just bring her a plate. It may eat big
For
that the
real.
conversation gets
And
good.
look at me like,
and we
oh,
run
it's
over.
12:30. Like, what y'all say?
Yeah.
Y'all ready to go home?
Coach K is done for the night, but we still here.
But y'all sit here because I'm in the office. She gonna go in back.
She gonna be flipping out lights and like.
Time to go.
My plate is all unplugged.
I don't know what I got to do to get y'all to understand.
Look, you ain't gotta go home.
But y'all gotta get up out of here. Look, the property manager said y'all gotta go.
We breaking curfew at this time.
So y'all laugh, but y'all gotta wrap this shit up.
Mama Bear has spoken.
She like, I'm laughing and stuff.
But y'all gotta
Mama
get out of here. This is cute. Let's go.
Cute, let's go.
And they know I love them just the same. Because if I didn't,
But
I wouldn't
also-
even showed up.
She would open the doors. But also, you know what, I just reserved some for the next episode. So all jokes aside, be your biggest advocate. If you feel like you cannot advocate for yourself, find someone that you are comfortable with and that you trust to advocate for you and or assist you in advocating. Do your research.
Yes.
Read.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know what peer reviews are, if you have been to school or when you go to school and there is research placed online, you can do peer reviews, and those come from actual professionals in that particular field that you are researching. So always look for .org websites and things of that, educational websites. So pull your information from. A lot of times when you give that information to doctors, they tend to take it a little bit more seriously because it's not just off of Google or Wikipedia, which are platforms that we know can be changed by the general public.
She said ginger ale is good for
I'm
air.
trying to ignore y'all. Put some tussin on it.
You put Vaseline on it.
Or just pop it.
Take a
like
finger
they've been
full of
telling-
Vicks.
Just pop it.
And want it. Yeah, because that's like, I was like, just pop it. Just burn the end of the pin and pop it.
Make me
Oh
stop
my
my burn
God.
so bad.
Oh, we're gonna go off
And I
topic.
will
I'm
not.
sure.
And I will not. But yes, be your biggest advocate. Educate yourself and find a trustworthy person. So if you need, go with you and advocate along with you. I would like to thank Mr. Brian Dark.
Woo!
Thank you guys for having me.
Oh,
This
damn,
is
phone's off.
this is everything for me. So thank you very much for opening your space and allowing me to talk about the foundation. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for wanting to educate because we
Yes.
come across people from time to time who tend to be gatekeepers. Not so much people that have organizations such as yourself, but people and I've heard people say, well, I know where I am, it's not my job to educate others or
What
to
is the
school.
knowledge to help you? That's so.
And I hate
It
that.
is your
crazy.
job though.
Each one
It
teach
is.
one. Absolutely. Each one teach
Like
one.
morality wise, it's
It
your
really
job.
is.
You know,
Absolutely.
Like you have, if you think that, it's kind of like, well, what's your moral compass?
It's what it's
taking out
What's
of
your
you.
value system?
Right.
What are you losing?
Right.
Absolutely.
It's the
really
same thing with
selfish.
social media though. It's
Absolutely.
like it doesn't cost no time and no money to
Share a
people's
post.
Thank
posts,
you.
know what I mean?
Thank you.
But people will not do it.
Right.
Keep right on scrolling.
I mean, there are some people who do it, but
But
Not many
but
people
no,
are
it's a lot.
when you have like 2,000 friends and
Right.
like 3 people share your stuff, it's
Thank
kinda
you.
Why are you here?
Right, where
Like,
come from?
how are we
Why
connected?
you
Like,
looking
what are
out
we doing?
window?
Right, what are we doing?
Right.
So thank you for being on the front lines
Thank you.
and for being an advocate.
Thank you for providing space so we can continue to be on the front line.
That's what I do. That's what I do. I want
Very
to,
dope.
we will be, I pinned your information in the comments, so to those of you who are watching on the Facebook Live, you all have the information. If you are on the YouTube, as I stated at the beginning of the show, the network is, she ready to go eat, the network is growing.
YouTube.
Oh, cause it's in my DNA now. It's in my DNA.
The YouTube people.
What they call that on the
YouTube.
The two of you.
That YouTube.
It's like poor Clara.
Alma, turn your hearing aid
And the
on.
confidence is we should
Listen, I
say
done
it
turned
is
into an old ass Karen. I
The
done turned into an old ass
YouTube
Karen.
is doing just fine.
If you are part of the YouTube audience,
There you go.
see how I turned it around?
Community.
Cause that's what I do. If you a loyal royal,
Boy,
I will definitely pin and place Brian's information and the foundation information on the YouTube and on the social media. Social media and YouTube do take a lot of work, and I have been checked out because of my chronic illness for the past week. I've been checked out, and that happens sometimes. But I'm back. We back. And so we will get your information on the YouTube, on the website, on all the social medias. It is pinned here. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
out.
you
I
very
want
much.
to bring you back closer to your event
yes.
Turn up.
so that we can continue to promote that cause. And
That would be fantastic.
I would love to do that. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Stormy the model. You got any closing words for the people?
I love y'all. Be safe. Take care of your mental health. Take care of your overall health. Say no to drugs.
Well, what kind of drugs when you say drugs?
Anything
Right.
but marijuana.
Anything but
No,
Say
but
no to a
seriously,
leave.
I thank you guys for having me.
Please say no to Ali.
I love you.
A leave will mess you up.
No, I
Don't you
definitely
go on
spend
top.
time. All right. Anyway,
She ready to go eat.
no. Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all. This was an amazing discussion. This was awesome. Y'all definitely tune in. We'll be back.
Yes.
I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
So you gonna be here next episode, right?
Yes,
Are
ma'am.
you free Tuesday after next?
Yes.
All right, cool. So we're gonna have Brian and Stormy back. We are building the panel. If you are interested in coming on and being a part of the show, please reach out to me at royalempireRadio@gmail.com, or you can just comment here or here. Do not and don't contact her.
We got a time
She
restriction.
gonna come to me.
At a certain point, she gotta eat.
Gotta go.
And eat before you come.
Right. And bring her a plate.
Bring her.
Bring her a plate.
Yeah.
I'm still go home and cook.
Right.
Cause it's time to go.
Thank you all
Thank you.
so much.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget
This is
to
awesome.
click the like and subscribe for more content and conversation, and to be a part of the safe space that that we create here. If you have something that you would like to discuss or talk about, or if you want to be a guest, comment below or inbox me, email me, and we'll be sure to get you on the show. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. They deserve it. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see you not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, because we are bi-weekly now, so that we have time to plan and get all this good content together for you guys. So peace and blessings to you. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and love on those who love on you. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Man. Hold on. I gotta
The
turn
ending
these
is
off.
over,
Hold
so
on. I gotta turn those off. I gotta turn those off.
Cut all the cameras off before y'all start.
Wait, what they say before she got that off?
Right. Yeah, get it on the Patreon.
The end of the live is so awkward. You just all